Jai Mother. Charanam Sharanam Ramambike. Charanam Sharanam Trayambage. Now it is time to sit quiet, face to face with Thee, and to sing dedication of life in this silent and overflowing Disha. Gitanjali. That evening, I went for the bhajan. When we reached the place, a certain doctor's house in Mylapore, the bhajan had already begun. How can I describe the scene that greeted my eyes? The devotees, both men and women, were seated on either side on the floor. To the accompaniment of tabla and cymbals, they were singing devotional songs in praise of Lord Krishna. The music stirred me and caught my heart. The songs were so beautiful and melodious and sung with so much devotional fervor. Then suddenly, in the midst of it all, I saw Mother. Like a solitary lotus, full blown and radiant, she sat still, calm and serene, in the midst of the ever-rising crescendo of the bhajans. Peace and calm seemed to radiate from her. Her face shone with a strange, lustrous beauty. A halo of light seemed to surround her. I lost all interest in the music and the surroundings. My whole being was drawn to the Mother irresistibly. The Mother I saw there was not the Mother I had seen before. My heart went out in an upsurge of ecstatic devotion which I had never felt before in my life. The certainty rose up that I was at the end of my quest. Nothing seemed to matter now, and as I gazed on that still radiant form, worries and troubles all fell away from me, to be replaced by a peace of mind, a new strength which had been denied to me for so long. In my heart rose love, adoration. I had found my divine anchorage, and a light was kindled in the gloomy depths of my tortured being. As we took our seats, someone nearby whispered that Mother was in Samadhi. Half an hour passed, oblivious of the surroundings, as motionless as a golden statue. Mother was still immersed in Samadhi, not even a flicker of the eyelid to tell us there was life. I felt again and again that strange elusive fragrance, and at times the whole room seemed to be full of it. In vain, I searched all over the room for burning incense sticks. The bhajan continued. I was lost to everything but the Mother. Some time elapsed. I noticed a slight movement. Mother half opened her eyes and prostrated. A few moments later, Mother rose. She still seemed to be in a arthabhava avastha, not still fully conscious of the relative plane, her eyeballs going upwards, her whole figure glowing with the radiance of divine love. Then, in a soul-stirring voice, forceful but appealing, Mother began to speak in Malayalam. It was as if the matchless being of Krishna was before her. O Lord, take these children under your care, guide them to the right path, forgive them their faults, teach them to realize Thee in everything. I cannot bring to my mind all the words Mother spoke. My mind became filled with the intoxicating sweetness of divine love. Mother was again in deep samadhi. Gradually she began to sway where she sat in a rhythmic movement, and gracefully rising to her feet began to dance, light as a feather. It was not the technique of the dance, but the spirit, the wealth and profundity of divine love it contained, that made it a most hallowed sight. At time when she was in the power of Krishna playing the flute, I felt as if Krishna himself was embodied before me in all his enchantment in her. It was a most singular, uplifting experience. I was lifted out of myself, existing as it were in another world of peace and blessedness. Later I learned that Mother was in Radha Bhava. the highest and purest form of divine love. The eyes were open, but the black pupils were not visible, and it was a wonder how she could move about so freely, floating as it were, and so lightly without touching anyone. In such superconscious states of Godhood, Mahabhavas of infinite purity, a mere touch of another, I later learned, caused her bodily suffering afterwards. Again the words came from Mother in ringing accents, exhorting and imploring all to follow the path of love, devotion, and faith to attain God. I do not want a single offering from you, but sing with me the glorious name of Vittal. Before long, the whole atmosphere was filled with Vittal Nam, the name of Krishna. The ever-rising crescent of God's name rose all around. I felt the word ringing in every part of my being. Each heartbeat was Vittal, and unconsciously my lips too followed. Later the wonder came, because I, who could not bear any sound, even the tinkling of the cymbals, was completely merged and unified in that ecstatic frenzy of God's name and Thala. I now realize that in that samadhi, merged in that infinite ocean of consciousness, Mother's unseen, subtle force penetrated my dull mind, and in that fully manifested Godhood, she took possession of my whole being. In the dark subconscious regions of my mind, a flood of light came. I knew I was face to face with God, the reality. The first veil of darkness was removed. The rust had to be removed a little before the magnet could draw the iron. I know now that Devi and Krishna were both identified that moment in the radiant being of Mother. It was getting very late, and we had to come away before the bhajan finished. I felt I could not leave Mother, but had to tear myself away with the sight of her face aglow with a rosy radiance. The bhajan was still continuing. After I reached home, all the events of the evening kept coming back to my mind. My unsettled mind was now definitely forming a decision. The next evening, I had a letter from my husband. I had written to him about my meeting Mother and had asked his advice about my proceeding further in the matter. I got a very encouraging reply from him, advising me to follow the dictates of my own mind without the least hesitation. The operation of grace bestowed by Mother had already begun. The letter gave me the strength to decide that I should get the initiation from Mother. My sister and brother-in-law left the decision to me. We went to Dr. Nair the next day. He had received the initiation from Mother. I caught his words, Mother, she is not Guru alone. She is Shri Devi herself in human form. I had the most wonderful experience. Words cannot describe it. He was of the opinion that it would help me to attain peace of mind, but he too said that I should decide for myself. All the time, whenever I went, Mother was very kind to me, but I had no chance of talking much with her or getting to know her better. But Mother compassionately agreed to give me Upadesh when I humbly requested her. Now that the final decision was made, I was in a hurry to have initiation. I wished it were over soon, and the fear that something might prevent it began to worry me day and night. When it was the hand of God that was leading me to this, how foolish it was to have entertained such fears. But as fate would have it, circumstances prevented me from having my initiation on that day. I felt upset and went to Mother. She fixed it up for Tuesday, 2 days before Mother was to leave for Bombay. I was in a fever of anxiety and counting the hours till the day arrived. If I missed that day, then I would have had to wait till Mother returned from Bombay. Charanam Sharanam Ramambike, Charanam Sharanam Trayambage. Jai Mother.